Hey everybody, welcome back. My name is Jonathan, and this is the Pack Talk. Um, for this video, we're going to go over the C name teams. Now, this is going to be probably a pretty longish video, I guess you can say, because there are 4 C name teams in the NFL. So we're just going to roll right into it because I don't want to take up too much time and might get boring. So we're going to start with the Carolina Panthers. At quarterback, they have Baker Mayfield, and I guess it's noting that the quarterback room, I wouldn't say is dysfunctional, but there's major competition going on. You got Baker Mayfield, you got Sam Darnold, which were both former first-round picks, 1 and 3, in that 2018 draft. Now I think it was. They also have PJ Walker and Matt Corral, who actually just went on the IL as I'm making this video. Or not the IL, but the injured reserve, which is not very good news for the Panthers. He'll probably be out for the year, and I think he is out for the year. But as I'm making this video, Baker Mayfield was named the starter, so he's going to be the Week 1 starter for the Carolina Panthers. Honestly, I saw that coming. I mean, for me, it makes the most sense. Why would you trade for a guy if you're not going to, at least play him and see what happens? And, Baker maybe needs a little bit more respect, I think, in this league. Last year, he was very hurt. He was basically playing with half a body. And he's a competitor, and I give him credit for that. He tried his best to win games for the Cleveland Browns, but we'll get into the Cleveland Browns later because that's just a whole other mess. Moving on, we have at running back Christian McCaffrey. Man, speaks for himself. When he's healthy, that's the only thing against him. He's never healthy, but when he's healthy, he's top 3 back in the league easily. Backup running back, they have Chuba Hubbard, which he's on and off. He has his good games, then he has his very flat games, but it is the Carolina Panthers. I think they need a little bit more offensive line help, and it just doesn't help a guy like Chuba Hubbard out. And then they also have Deontay Foreman at the running back 3. Very good 1-2-3 punch there. Not a bad running back core at all. By any means. At wide receiver, worth noting, all they have is DJ Moore and Robbie Anderson. Don't really know what to make much of the wide receivers. DJ Moore's pretty good. Robbie Anderson has always been kind of on the low end wide receiver. Again, he's a player that also has his good games and also his very low bad games. Tight end, I've never even heard of this guy. Maybe I have. His name is Tommy Tremble. I don't know. We'll see what comes of him. And then the kicker that goes kind of, it seems, from team to team now. He was on the Cardinals. Actually, I think he's only been on the Cardinals and Panthers. Was he on the Panthers last year? I don't know. Maybe one of you guys can let me know. But Zane Gonzalez, which, he's just a kicker in my opinion. Not too special, but, he's not a bad kicker at all. I had him on my fantasy team once. He did what he could, did his job for me on my team. On defense, I'm hearing a lot that their defense is very underrated right now. But the only names that really pop out to me right now are Brian Burns at defensive end, Shaq Thompson at linebacker, and Xavier Woods at strong safety. We'll see. We'll see what their D-line comes of, but as of right now, that is to be proven. Now moving on to fantasy. Easily Christian McCaffrey, if he's healthy, you want him on your team. I know people are going to be hesitant, but you know what? If he drops to even 5, I think you have to take him. I don't know much better options. Maybe Austin Eckler, Alvin Kamara you pick up over him, but that's if you're worried about injury. I don't think he's going to be injured 4 years in a row. You know what? We'll see, though. Then you got DJ Moore at 2, and honestly, Baker Mayfield is probably your third best option in fantasy, even though I'd maybe stay away from him because of that whole quarterback conundrum going on. If he ends up doing bad, Sam Darnold's going to come in, or even PJ Walker. If Sam Darnold's atrocious, which Sam Darnold, in my opinion, is a bust up to this point. He just hasn't done it yet. Notable options, like I said, Panthers defense. That defensive line is being kind of hyped up right now, so they're on the low end defensive notable fantasy options, in my opinion. I think if you're very needy for a defense and you've been ignoring them into the late rounds, maybe pick them up, give them a swing, waiver wire then. And then Zane Gonzalez, kicker, says for himself. Okay, next is the Chicago Bears. Another somewhat bad team, I think. By the way, I think the Panthers will probably do what they did last year, is start off kind of good. They started 3-0, but they had very bad team matchups, so they should have won those games, and then they just fell apart. They came flat about every other game after that. Maybe 5-6 win team. I don't buy the hype that they make the playoffs. Anyway, Chicago Bears, another bad team. This, in my opinion, I don't know. It's between this team and the Seattle Seahawks that I think will be 1A, 1B with the worst teams in the league. Chicago might win 2 games. I just don't trust that offensive line, even though I credit Justin Fields. He's going to try his best. I think he can be a good starter in this league, but the Bears need to start building around him ASAP. He's almost set up for failure. But, okay, yeah, as I said, Justin Fields is the quarterback. At backup, they have Trevor Siemian. Running back, David Montgomery, solid back. Khalil Herbert is the backup running back. At wide receiver, they have Darnell Mooney, which, I think Darnell Mooney's a pretty good wide receiver in this league. Again, that offensive line is not going to give much help to Justin Fields, so he's going to have to get open quick and be effective fast. I checked the depth chart, and they have this guy named Velus Jones Jr. I've never heard of him at wide receiver 2, and they have Byron Pringle at wide receiver 3, former Chief. And I guess it's worth noting that the Bears did pick up N'Keal Harry. They traded for him, with the Patriots. Part of me hopes, he has a resurgence with the Bears, but probably not a good team to have your resurgence with. At tight end, they have Cole Kmet, which I think is he's a pretty decent tight end. Like, there are decent pieces on this offense, but they need offensive line help. And watching these preseason games, I just don't. I don't know what's going to happen come regular season time. And then at kicker, they have Cairo Santos, which is a pretty good kicker. On defense, they actually have some pretty good players. They have Justin Jones, Robert Quinn, Joe Thomas, Roquan Smith, and Eddie Jackson. And I think that's really it. If one of them goes down, or even multiple of them go down, this defense will be in shambles. This defense pretty much heavily relies on these players to be their best to win games. Top 3 fantasy. This was kind of hard because I don't know. I would stray away from Bears players in fantasy, but if I had to pick, David Montgomery is your one. If you're gonna get a running back and he's your best available, pick David Montgomery. Darnell Mooney, again, best available wide receiver. Go ahead and get him. Cole Kmet could be interesting. I think Justin Fields would utilize Cole Kmet a little more, especially with this new head coach that they have. Notable, I'm gonna put N'Keal Harry in notable. I think the Bears will again, going back to the Panthers, I don't see why you trade for a player and just never use them. It's basically useless to me, even though they didn't give up a lot for him. But yeah, N'Keal Harry, notable. 12-team league, late round go ahead, take a swing at him. And then, of course, the kicker by default for me is pretty notable. Cairo Santos, he's good. Unless they're a pretty bad kicker, I mean, go for it. Why not? Next, we're moving right along here. Pretty good pace. Like I said, both pretty bad teams there. I think the Bears win 2-3 games max. Moving on to the reigning AFC champion Cincinnati Bengals. This is an interesting team to think about right now because they are not really riding the hype into this year because the AFC is so loaded. They don't think the Bengals could repeat as that dominant. I'm leaning on that they were kind of on the fluke side of runs here. Like, they just had everything kind of working for them, and they went to Kansas City again to beat them in Patrick Mahomes' house. And Patrick Mahomes is probably heated about that. Man, as a competitor, doesn't want to lose. But, going into the team, let's see here. We got Joe Burrow, of course. He's always strutting, putting on a show. A very reliable quarterback. I think he is a very good quarterback, actually. But, I still think he's kind of uncertain. But you know what? I'm riding the train with him. Brandon Allen at backup, which hopefully doesn't get injured again. At running back, got Joe Mixon, then Samaje Perine as running back 2. At wide receiver, they got, the three guys everybody should know. You got Jamar Chase going to his second year. You got Tyler Boyd, and then you got T. Higgins. Tight end, I forgot who their tight end was last year, but it wasn't Hayden Hurst. But they got Hayden Hurst now, and they got Drew Sample as the backup tight end, and then they got Mr. Money McPherson, Evan McPherson at kicker, which I think, just seeing last year, I don't even care that he was a rookie. Man was on point the whole season, except for that Green Bay game. That was just a weird showing by both Mason Crosby and Evan McPherson. Other than that, he's money. He's Money McPherson for a reason. I really like him. I think he's a top 3 kicker right now. I don't even care. On defense, again, another kind of underrated defense people are talking about. They did their due diligence last year for sure. Only held Patrick Mahomes to only 3 points in the second half in the AFC Championship game. So credit to them. You got Sam Hubbard. You got Trey Hendrickson, you got Logan Wilson, and I guess it's worth noting they have Eli Apple. I mean, it's a name. They have Eli Apple. He's a player for me that also has his ups and downs on that defense. He needs to step it up, I think. If he wants the recognition, the respect he needs, get a little flashy out there. Top 3 fantasy. I'm going to have to go with the 3 J's any order you want. Maybe not any order you want. I'd go Jamar Chase first for sure. And then Joe Mixon and Joe Burrow. Top 3 for sure. Notable, T. Higgins. T. Higgins could be a very good flex option, I think. And then McPherson, of course, the kicker, Evan McPherson. And then lastly, the fun team, the Cleveland Browns, also part of that division. So where do I start with the Cleveland Browns? So they have Deshaun Watson as the quarterback, traded from the Houston Texans. He was fully guaranteed like $250 million, $260 million with the Cleveland Browns, but now he's suspended for 11 games, and that's a big gut punch for Cleveland Browns fans. They're preparing for the worst right now. They have Jacoby Brissett, and they also picked up Josh Rosen because, this whole mess was looming with Deshaun Watson. It was only a matter of time until the NFL put the hammer down on him. But Jacoby Brissett will start for the first 11 games. I don't know what to really make much of that. Jacoby Brissett is a very, literally, mid-level backup, in my opinion. Josh Rosen, in my opinion, has never really had the chance he deserves. But it's good that, he might get a shot at Jacoby Brissett isn't doing what he needs to do. And the Cleveland Browns are really weird because they have the pieces. It's just there's some dysfunction going on and a lot of distraction. And I don't know how good they're going to fare. They might be a 500 team. I know you can't go 500 in a 17-game season, but they look to me like an 8-9 win team for sure. So at running back, you got Nick Chubb. Very, very good running back. Enough said on that. Then you got Kareem Hunt. Again, another interesting scenario going on with Kareem Hunt. He actually requested a trade from the Browns, so he will probably not play. So that's going to hurt them. I forgot to look at the running back 3, but that I don't think he's really worth noting. That says enough right there. At wide receiver, they got Amari Cooper. Amari Cooper can be a very good wide receiver. He's just very mid-level right now. And you got Donovan Peoples-Jones at wide receiver 2. At tight end, you got David Njoku. And then at kicker, Cade York. I don't know who Cade York is. Did he kick for them last year? I don't know. That's their kicker. On defense, this is why I'm saying, this team is really weird, but because they're going through kind of a dysfunctional period right now, they're probably just going to be a 500 team, maybe slightly below 500. Or, you know what, this happens where sometimes teams shock. Okay, but moving on, you got on defense, you got Myles Garrett, of course, top 2 defensive end. Jordan Elliott, Jadeveon Clowney, Anthony Walker, Denzel Ward, and Greg Newsome II. I think pretty good defense there, to be honest. Hopefully nothing. Myles Garrett did say that they're not at all distracted by all this. They're going to go out there and play and do their best, which, I believe Myles Garrett has his word, even though, he had that, again, he had that issue with bashing Mason Rudolph's head in with a helmet. I still listen to the top guy on defense. He's the leader there. So top 3 fantasy, if I had to choose, Nick Chubb would be 1. Amari Cooper at 2. Browns defense at 3. Because the Browns defense isn't too bad looking at them. Nick Chubb for sure is going to be your 1 there. Honestly, if I had to pick, he'd probably be the only player I'd pick. Amari Cooper, flex bench player. And then Cade York at kicker could be, I think the Browns could do enough to get into a lot of field goal range scenarios. But yeah, that's it on the C teams, everybody. I tried my best. We made pretty good time, I think. Overall, I think on the C's you have 2, I don't want to say this. Actually, 1 good team, 1 very mediocre team, and 2 bad teams. That would be, if I had to rank them, Cincinnati Bengals, Cleveland Browns, Carolina Panthers, and then Chicago Bears for the C's. Okay, that'll be it for that. For this video, guys. I'm going to try to, the editing is kind of wonky right now. I'm trying to figure out how to format this even better, but I'm trying to pump in as many videos as I can because I do enjoy doing this right now, and I'm going to keep it up. Thank you guys if you come across this video for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video.